Yeah.
On a world spinning its way to damnation amidst the fear and despair of a broken human race, who is left to fight for what's good and pure? That's right, it's the Handkerchief Dynasty podcast, part of the proud family of Handkerchief Dynasty aggregate playlist shows. I am, as always, your senior professor. I am, as always, your senior professor, joined by my good friend and purveyor of hot and saucy sacred takes, trafficker in truth, and keeper of the sacred video card protocols, the High Priest of Oilers Magic. How are you, High Priest?
I'm okay. Pretty good. I think I'm pretty good. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, it's hard not to be a little bit excited right now. I mean, we're staring down at a Wednesday playoff start. It's now Monday night, presently. I'm going to be entering cryogenesis in a few hours to help me pass the time. They should start thawing me out about noon to 1 p.m. Wednesday Pacific time.
Seems kind of like, I mean, it seems a little over the top to enter cryogenesis for, I mean, it was a little over 24 hours.
I'm telling you, man, it's hard to take though. The waiting is hard to take. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
It's costing me a cool $75K, but you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's an investment.
I hope it's not expensive, but it turns out it is expensive.
Well, they were willing to just freeze my head and my other extremities for like a lower fee, but I was a little bit worried about my lymph nodes.
Hey, it's your money, friend. It's your money.
So what are your thoughts going into this here? By the way, I must compliment you on the threads. And actually, to start off, I do want to read something, a very special message that really lightened my day. But yeah, go ahead and continue your thought for a second here. Vamp for me.
So what we're going to do here is I'm going to continue my thought, and then you're going to talk about whatever it is you were just about to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How about you do that first?
Well, I need to log the fuck into Patreon to read the goddamn thing. Okay, thanks, bro. Great job, co-host. Okay, here we go. We got a new patron today. Shout out to the K-Man, Big K. Okay, I gotta read this message to you in its entirety, okay, because it's just a beautiful piece of prose. Okay?
Okay.
This is from K. Hey, boys. First time ever using Patreon, but this is also the first time I've actually felt the need to do so. Podcast is triple extra sexy and entertaining, and very entertaining. It makes listening to 31 Thoughts feel like putting on sweat-crusted pajamas as a child. Those pajamas that both look and feel like a shumka pierogi, which has sat under the heat lamp at Kingsway Garden Mall for several hours, just sweating in butter and onion effluvium.
I know that pierogi.
By comparison, consuming Handkerchief Dynasty is synonymous with stripping all clothing from the bodily vessel, carefully dressing the king-size bed with fresh bamboo sheets, and telling your girlfriend to leave you alone while you sleep in consummate freedom. Handkerchief Dynasty is freedom from what we think we love about hockey, from the nostalgic takes from industry people who promote the product, and instead shows the honest and sophisticated opinions of guests and, of course, the secret professor and high priest. I appreciate the thoughtful discussion. I appreciate the 80s funk tunes. I appreciate.
Wow.
Dude, like what a ringing endorsement. I think I can just retire from life right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Special thank you to the K-Man. Much appreciated. I mean, you know, I think we're looking forward to the playoffs. We're looking forward to beyond. I know a lot of our listeners really appreciated the steady flow of content during the offseason last year. I think it's going to be a very short offseason for us this year. But to access that and other fun stuff, please visit us at patreon.com/Handkerchief Dynasty, everybody.
Have you watched any of the other games? Have you watched any playoff games?
I've watched some highlights. To be honest, I'm kind of...
Let me tell you, friend.
I'm fasting a little bit.
These playoffs have a completely different feel than that bullshit last year. Like, it's like for real. Like,
well,
it's like
fans in the stands for one in America.
It's completely different. The intensity, it's like a million times more intense. So I hope the Oilers, because I've watched the only game I haven't watched was that Nashville Carolina game. But and I haven't watched all the other games, but I've watched like third period of most of them, and it's been crazy. like super physical, super intense.
So I'm hearing, yeah.
So I hope that the Oilers are ready to play that way. I think they are. But if they don't, they'll be literally the only team up to this point that has chosen not to, because everyone else is just going like it's crazy.
Well, maybe it'll be a Canadian. Maybe it'll be a Canadian division thing because there's no fans in the stands.
Yeah, it could be. It's definitely strange. It's going to be bizarre. The first time the Canadian teams have played in front of fans in like over a year will be
in like opposing crazy,
opposing teams fans. It's going to be nuts. But the games have been, I mean, it's night and day from the qualifying round last year. Like all the games, like all the playoff games last year paled in comparison, I think, to what I've seen out of like these first 4 or 5 games.
Well, I mean, already coming off that huge layoff last year, like Mike Smith even talked about, everyone was just like, "Oh, qualify." It was just like he had this awesome answer today where he was like, "Look, everyone keeps on bringing the qualifying round up, but like, look, I played one game, and it was like 4 months of just like being with my family, not knowing what was going to happen. Then you're called back in, and then you're away from your family. It's like a whole different thing,
It was completely different. So I'm very excited. I shouldn't say I hope that the Oilers can play that way. I'm very excited to watching this Oilers team play that way because it's going to be crazy. Like, I think Connie is just going to like go off. Like, he's been like, you look at a guy like Connie and like Connie and Dry, the whole team, but they've been like, the qualifying round, they were coming in from like a dead stop. Connie right now is like, you know what I mean? Approaching the end of the runway. Like, he's flying full speed into the playoffs. And obviously, like, he's had a season under his belt now. Like, he's ready to go. He gets how he's going to have to, like, the whole team is going to have to like turn it up a notch. It's going to be very exciting to watch. I can't wait.
I think his performance in this playoff round, knock on wood, could be pretty unprecedented and kind of like earth-shattering for a lot of like human beings, just like on a social level. Like, it could be the kind of thing where,
I think so.
Like, the Pentagon will be like verifying that like these tapes of Connor McDavid doing these things in the playoffs are valid, and they can't explain them. They don't know what it is, but they know that like this guy named Connor McDavid has been doing these things, and we might end up proving the existence of field propulsion technology or something.
Like Navy pilots will like go on record talking about Connor McDavid, what they saw.
Whoa. And like oppositional players, obviously, as well.
Right.
They'll be like, I was there. I heard this sound. It's a sound unlike I've heard anything before. It was kind of like someone skating along the ice, but just at this speed and this vibration. The air was still. All the animals got really quiet all of a sudden.
The animals got very quiet. Nice. Yeah, it's gonna be great. What do you think? What's your prediction for the series?
I don't know. My prediction is that everyone will feel good about the amount of lip service they gave for Winnipeg having a fucking snowball in hell's chance against the Oilers in this first round series. And people have been doing a good job of favoring the Oilers, being like, hey, anything can happen. But like, fuck that. Like, once the Oilers fucking tidy this shit up and send them their fucking packing papers in like 5 games or whatever it's going to be.
5 games.
Then everyone will be like, I'm glad we didn't spend more time giving Winnipeg a chance in the preamble to this, because like we all know, I mean, like, who the fuck knows what happens in the second round? I'm not making any predictions about the second round, but I will say I give Winnipeg almost no chance here.
Yeah, 5 games, you're saying?
Well, I mean, unless something happens that's just unprecedented. Like, I mean, they went limping into the fucking playoffs. Hellebuck has had no answer for our big guns, and who the fuck has? It's like we have like the Gustav gun plus the A-bomb. It's like we've got unstoppable weapons to a certain extent. So like, you can't exactly criticize a goaltender for like not having an answer to that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Like you may as well like drop fucking Big Bertha on him or whatever. Just expect him to stop that shit.
How does Winnipeg? If Winnipeg is going to beat the Oilers, this is an exercise that I wanted to do this year and that I've been making myself aware of, is I think it's very healthy for me to think of how Winnipeg would beat the Oilers.
Mentally and then prepare yourself by like going through the scenario.
Yeah, sort of. But then also sort of come up with ways where that won't happen. You know what I mean? What's going on over there?
I'm just going to try and set up a fancy light show. Keep going.
Okay. Just to like reassure myself, like, yeah, but so as long as the Oilers do this, then that won't happen. You know what I mean? So how do you think, like, if the Jets, they plan on beating the Oilers, they think they can do it. So what do you think their plan is to do that? No sound. You have no sound.
Their plan is for all the stars to align. You know, they'll get the gypsy palm reader and tarot card specialist in the locker room. They're going to be deeply involved in making sure everything's fixed, because they basically need every literal thing that could go wrong for the Oilers to go wrong. That's the only way. That's the only way Winnipeg wins this game.
They need Mike Smith out of there, I think, is what they're going.
Well, that's the number one thing that has to go wrong, and then they need their defense. Something horrible has to happen on the back end. Some horrible shit has to happen on the front end. Dave Tippett needs to like be involved in some kind of murder for hire plot and be featured in some Netflix documentary next year. Like everything has to go wrong. Everything that could go wrong has to go wrong. Because otherwise, Connie and Leon are just going to take this shit over. I'm sorry. Plus, we got a better defensive core. You know, we got stronger goaltending going into the playoffs right now.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it'll be the Oilers in 5 games, but I hope they're prepared to play a team that's going to be looking to, like, the thing about Mike Smith is he's got a fuse, right? So, and I think that's like the chink in the Oilers' armor.
You say he's got a fuse, or he's got a fuse in the sense that he has to fuse with the higher transcendent spirits of goaltending ether.
He has a fuse. Like, I think the Jets are going to come at Mike Smith extremely hard, and I hope the Oilers have some sort of like plan on to deal with that. You know what I mean? So it's not just like Mike Smith flipping out and like chasing guys around the net looking to like beat their asses. Because I don't think the Oilers can get involved in that sort of, like, I don't think that can happen. I don't think that'll end well. Maybe.
No.
So I hope the Oilers are prepared to, you know, it's playoff hockey. Like, it's going to be very physical and very strategic, and like, it's a long game now. It's not just like it's a series. I think they're ready. I think they're ready for it. I'm just sort of like, last year I didn't do this with the Hawks, and it was just awful. Oh,
I mean, we're also in a very vulnerable place, you know, like the series against the Hawks was like, you just go through something catastrophic, and it's like you go through the worst breakup ever, just screaming at the top of your lungs, throwing things just shattered. You're finding pieces for weeks later all around the place, and then the relationship's over. And then 6 to 8 weeks later, they call you up and they're like, come over here and fuck my brains out. Okay, let's go. And you're like, and you run in there, and it's like, you know, obviously doesn't go well. So it's like you're left with this kind of like, you've gone through this roller coaster of emotions. This year is a lot different, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, do you notice a total difference in the demeanor of Coach Dave Tippett right now? Because like I was watching his presser, and it was literally like he had this expression on his face where he was just like, you could just tell that he was thinking on the inside, like, all these motherfuckers asking these stupid questions, thinking like this press conference is like anything to me right now. Because like to him, like the war has started. Like he's gone into a war footing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Like they made a joke about Paul Maurice, and he was just like, you know what, Paul Maurice can do whatever he wants, you know? Like, I don't even care about Paul Maurice. It's like, this like look in his eye, like, I'm gonna destroy Paul Maurice, okay?
Yeah, right.
And it's almost as though like he's the like drill master at like cadet school or some sort of like military academy, and like all the kids are about to graduate, but he's the one that secretly knows they're being sent to BAM the next day or whatever. So he's got that glimmer in his eye, and he like knows something no one else knows. He realizes how high the stakes are. You know,
Yeah.
like how real the fucking shit is about to get,
Yes.
and how everyone better is going to be pretty shocked at how fast they're going to realize how real this shit is about to get.
Yeah, I think so too. Which is what you want. Like, it's just my biggest fear that they come out, because it feels like, honestly, we haven't seen the Oilers play a playoff game since like 2016. You know what I mean?
We haven't seen the Oilers play a playoff game in our lives, basically. Like, seriously.
No,
I mean, like, we may as well.
Run. The 2016 run, like, that was a legit run.
Benoit
that felt like a thing.
It was fun.
That felt like a thing. I mean, we almost had it, right? Cam Talbot kind of blew it against Anaheim, as is his wont. And then that was it, right?
Wow. Yeah. It was a sad day.
Yeah. It was a sad day. Anyway.
I give Winnipeg no chance in this series. I'm just going to go on.
No, me neither.
But it's going to be fun. And like, I think the town is going to be off the hook. Like, what's going on in the town? Are there just like, are there crematoriums opening up in the streets, or is it quieted down a little bit? Or are people going to be like on White Ave going, "Aah!"
Yeah, they are, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's closed on White Ave, but I don't think that matters. I think people are still going to
burn White Ave to the ground. What's the solution there?
No, White Ave's like great. It's like
I know it's like literally the only fun part of town, but like, how do they avoid it becoming like a rioting hotspot?
It's not the only fun part of town, but it's very walkable.
Maybe that's what it is, because I never had a car back in those days. I was very like non-car prejudice. Yeah.
It's I don't know what they're gonna do. There doesn't seem to be much of a plan. It's been very sort of quiet. You know what I mean? Like, there hasn't been any real acknowledgement of like where fans should go, because I imagine
so they're just forgotten that there's a hordes of Edmonton Oilers fans. Like,
no, they haven't.
Like foaming at the mouth.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're gonna do. I think they're just hoping that we won't all gather on White Avenue. But I just
forgot that human beings are a social species that actually gather. Have they just assumed that we're some kind of lone wolf species that never actually interact with others?
Well, there's never really, in Edmonton, there hasn't really been much of a reason to gather in large numbers. Like, we can't go to the Oilers games. We can't do anything. There's been no real event this whole time. Maybe, I suppose, Canada Day, but there's been nothing that really
Canada Day. I mean, if there ever was a non-event, big event, quote unquote big event, it's fucking Canada Day. I'm sorry.
I know.
I love Canada, but give me a break.
Yes, okay. Exactly. So there hasn't really been a thing like the Oilers in the playoffs, and there's been really, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about what's going to go on. I think they're all just expecting us to just like watch the games. But if you go to White Ave on a Friday night lately, I mean, it's packed. It's beautiful outside. I think it's supposed to be pretty crappy on Wednesday, so maybe that'll
You're probably going to get our weather. It's just like the rain came in sheets today. It was just like nice, and then it went straight to Whaling Vessel.
Yeah, it's supposed to snow here actually tomorrow night.
That's fucking crazy. You know, we should actually start a Green Day cover band. We're going to call it Canada Day.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
So, I mean, we've got number one power play going in here. We got Tyson Barrie.
Yeah.
We got studs on the back end that Winnipeg just doesn't have. You know, they got the weakest defensive core out of every one of the four Canadian playoff teams, everyone says. Hellebuck's looked really human against us.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I mean, let's keep it real here. Like, what the fuck is Paul Maurice supposed to do? Like, do you actually think that like at the end of this series, when they get their asses handed to them, they're gonna call Paul Maurice upstairs and say, you know what, Paul, you should have done more? Like, give me a break. Fuck that shit. There's nothing. What the fuck is he supposed to do?
I don't know.
Who's Paul Maurice? He's not Jesus Christ on the cross.
All I've heard about Winnipeg is that they're like they're a very big team. You know what I mean? That's what you keep hearing about that team. But I think like...
You think that applies just to height or to other aspects of their anatomy?
Probably height and dong.
Okay, just making sure.
But I think that like that could be that's something that can get nullified in the playoffs if you're playing a team that, you know, steps up and plays big and also has like the two most talented guys in the world on their team. Yeah. I mean, as long as it's the Oilers series to lose, as far as I'm concerned. If they go in there and play their game, which is terrifying, but like there's no reason why, if we don't see the team we've seen for the last 15 games,
for half of the fucking series, we don't take this down.
I know.
You know?
I agree. Well, and it's like, and this is no 3-game best of 5. This is a best of 7, right?
Man,
so there's lots.
3-game best of 5 has to be the worst format for like anything ever. Like
really,
rock paper scissors, anything worst format.
Yeah,
it's like the least satisfying. 2 out of 3, classic. You know, 4 out of 7, ooh, interesting, sexy. 3 out of 5, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
we're like middle America moderate voters. It's like we're just wasting away.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm with you. I really don't see, and I mean, there's that crazy stat that every year the Oilers have won the Stanley Cup, they beat Winnipeg in the first round to do it. So if history tells us anything, it's that if the Oilers beat Winnipeg, Stanley Cup.
But does that apply with like the franchise having changed over and everything? Like,
yeah, it does.
It does? Okay.
Like, what are you talking about?
So every year the Oilers have won the Stanley Cup. They beat the Winnipeg Jets in the first round.
Yes.
En route to the Stanley Cup. Yes. By the way, is not the turn of phrase en route to the Stanley Cup maybe one of the most beautiful things you've ever heard in language?
Yeah. It's because it's French.
Yeah.
It's French.
And it also has the word Stanley Cup in there.
Yeah. It's French. I know what it means, and it has Stanley Cup in it. It's like the perfect sentence.
French that you know what it means is definitely better than French that you don't know what it means.
Mm-hmm.
They should really address that. Maybe like the French language authorities could look at that a little
bit. There's not a lot
of... you know, there are a lot of these words, these Anglophones, they don't know what it means, man.
There's a lot of like...
kind of turned into a Mexican accent there for a second.
Yeah, it definitely turned into Cheech Marin right at the very end. It's there's not a lot of French phrases that I know how to use and I feel comfortable using. En route might be number 1, actually. Bon appetit is up there.
Yeah.
Au revoir. But I don't say that very much. I said menage a trois. I'll probably never say. Bon appetit is obviously what I say the most. Yeah. Like 6 to 10 times a day.
You also say soup de jour a lot, I've noticed.
Oh yeah, all the time. At least once a day. At least once a day.
So how do you feel about the Ryan McLeod situation? I mean, he's put up 1 assist. I think, you know what, like, to be honest,
I would say he's
outplayed Gaetan Haas, right? Kinda.
Yeah, sure.
But like really, it's not really, you're not really playing for the like Super Bowl ring there or whatever to like be Gaetan Haas or Ryan McLeod. But at the same time, like, definitely happy to see him kind of having secured a spot. And also I'm happy that we have another guy who can center the 4th line if he goes down or whatever.
You know what? I'm happy we have a guy who is doing very well in the AHL and kind of earned his place. And we brought him here right before the playoffs. And now he's going to be in the NHL playoffs, and no one is going to appreciate this more than Ryan McLeod. Like, it's going to be, you know, what a last month this guy's had. You know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden he's in the big times with Connie and Leon and like the rest of the guys. And now they're in the playoffs and they're like a Stanley Cup favorite. So I imagine he's going to be like super juiced to be there. And he's one of those guys. There's always like a few. That's the thing about playoff hockey is those guys can be such a huge difference maker. Like, if those guys turn it up,
I mean, if you have one goal from that line,
it totally changes the entire dynamic of the team. Yeah. And like, everybody starts playing that way. And that's like how playoff hockey happens. That's what makes playoff hockey, is everybody realizes the importance of the situation. Often cases, especially the guys that are there for their first time, or they've, you know, been down the road, like they've been around, and it's just like, yeah. So I'm expecting, I don't know, I was mildly impressed with him this last month or whatever, but I was never like losing my mind over Ryan McLeod. But I expect that he's going to have a great playoffs. Like, I expect him to be right in the mix and making big plays and appreciating all of it, you know, wanting to contribute in a big way, wanting to make the team, you know, happy that they brought him up. I think he'll do that. He strikes me as that kind of guy. I'm basing this purely on his like lack of teeth, his jib. I love his jib.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta love his jib.
Yeah,
Also put
Jib
up he's got a
playoff
50 over 50, slightly over 50% face-off percentage
playoff.
over the first
Yeah,
14
playoff
games,
Jib
which is
is
great.
huge. Playoff Jib is it's extremely important.
Well, here's a question for you. Like, let's do some end of the regular season awards just to honor, I think the what was it, the sixth or seventh best regular season the Oilers have had, or something crazy,
Yeah,
in terms of winning percentage. Who gets the best jib award at the end of the day for pure jib and nothing else this year?
you know who I might give it to?
I know who I'm giving it to.
It's
I,
tough.
it's
I got it. I got it narrowed down to two guys.
I got to narrow down to one guy, and it's
Okay.
because it's not someone you would think would win this award. It's someone who wins other awards. But quite frankly, I think his jib has really like shown through, and there's a blossoming jib that's emerged. This beautiful, fresh, nubile, almost pulchritudinous jib that's
Okay.
like that's in a very early form.
Okay. Who is it?
Connor McDavid, baby. He has just had a fucking chip on his fucking shoulder this year, and I have been digging the shit out of that shit, man. Just to
Yep.
see him like a little pissed off, giving some guys some
Oh
jabs, like
man.
taking no prisoners. He's just like, you know what? He just seems to have just like he's a man now, and he's grizzled. He's a vet. He's officially become a vet in my eyes.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. I was going to give it based purely on jib to Josh Archibald.
Yeah, that's not
Love that guy's jib. Love that
Yeah.
guy's jib.
Yeah. What a tremendous support player he's turned out to be. It's interesting.
I'm
It's interesting to see
So
how.
looking forward to him in the playoffs as well.
Yeah, totally. So what do we got on the? We got Chiasson and Nealer with McLeod, and so that's Archie with Jujar, and who's the other guy on that line again?
Ennis?
No, it's not Ennis.
Or
it's at the tip of my tongue. 1 second. Sure.
Yeah, right.
Then you got Dynamite, and you got Cocoon on the top line with
Devin Shore
with
also has a great jib.
Devin Shore has a great jib. I mean, I think Neil's put up. For a guy who would really be suffering from like some inclement jib weather, so to speak, having to go to the taxi squad as a veteran and stuff. He's still there. He's still James Neal.
Yeah, totally. I bet you he loved every fucking minute he was on that taxi squad.
There's no fucking way he did, man. There's no way.
No, he did. And then he just like rolls in there like, Nealer, we need you. And then he like comes in and scores like a couple goals and then disappears back on the taxi squad for like another 3 weeks.
It was weird, man. Yeah, because like he scored like 2 goals that one game and then like didn't play the next game and we like didn't see him for weeks. But I mean, I think
that's the way Nealer rolls. Yeah, he was fighting some stuff.
Do you think there's anyone fighting some stuff that's like playing through pain right now on the Oilers? It seems like there's other teams that are like, you got Tampa who has these guys coming back just for the playoffs, basically. There's
maybe
teams doing that.
Maybe Mike Smith.
Oh, please no.
But I don't think we'd ever. I don't think
we'd never know. He'd be out there on crutches before he. Yeah.
No, I don't really think so. Do we know this? Like, is Jujar's back? Completely. Like he's back in the mix.
Yeah.
Do we know what's going on with Cassian? Is he going to make an appearance here?
Yeah, they say they're expecting him back in the first round. That's been a lot of people have made hay on the talk shows about like where who do you take out to bring him in? But I mean, you probably do bring him in to put him on that line with Kyra and Shore or Kyra and Archie or something like that, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, like I think the team has shown that they don't necessarily like need Cassian necessarily that much, but that player type, you're gonna put him in the playoffs. It's just the way it's gonna go. And he'll have to really fuck up hard to lose his spot, which he very well may do. There's a high, relative to other players, there's a high probability chance that once they ice Zach Cassian in the playoffs, whether let's say it's in game 3 or 4 of the first round here, they'll be like, you know what, we made a mistake. Shoresy, you're back. Cassian, fuck off.
Who are you expecting to have like a really big playoffs, like outside of our big guys? Like, who are you looking to see great things from?
I think
anybody
is Nursey a big guy? Because I think Nurse is going to have a good playoffs for sure.
Yeah, he's a huge guy.
Yeah, Barry. I think Barry's going to be good in the playoffs.
Yeah, but he's been great all year.
Okay, so
what about Yams? What about Yam?
I mean, Yamo's been seems. I mean, I hate to use the phrase, but he's been snake bitten.
I know. But you
And
know
I think
what? The playoffs is a fresh start. Look at
it
Jake
definitely is.
DeBrusk. He had
It
4
definitely
goals
is.
all season. 2
Yeah.
goals, 2 goals in 2 games in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Like,
I
it's
mean,
weird.
Yamo would be high on the list of guys that you would think might break through like that. I would say after him, you're probably looking at a player like, to be honest, it's Jason Neal. I think really, if you
What
in
about
terms of like
Cahoon?
maybe Cahoon, he's playing on the top line with Connie. I think Puljujarvi's gonna at least pot a couple here in the first, let's say, couple of rounds, assuming we do get through Winnipeg, which I think we will. 99% sure. And besides that, we're not going to need that much because I honestly think like Connie and Dry have really shown up to play.
Alex,
They've got a determination where it's like I can't be too scared. I mean, barring some crazy fucking Rolo-esque shit going down, I'm putting all my fears and anxieties to bed, or they're in the crawl space. I'm locked up in the crawl space.
Yeah.
For now, I will let them emerge should and when the time should arrive that I need them.
So then you're thinking, as am I think, Edmonton and Toronto in the second round.
I know, which is going to be a little wacky. I think that'll be a little wacky tobacco if that shit goes down, which is looking like I give that a 75% chance going down. Well, the Toronto media, for one, are like the world's craziest in-law, Like, I don't know what the fuck the Toronto media is going to do. Like, who the fuck knows? It's crazy. They're a crazy bunch.
I totally agree.
At the same time, I mean, like, I think I would still probably give the edge to the Oilers in that series, but that's going to be a fun series to watch, and like it'll be a big fucking deal. It'll be kind of it'll kind of be the orgasm for this whole Northern abstraction experience, I think after that, Toronto and Edmonton will both go take a shower, cool off.
I think it'll be the orgasm of like the past 5 years. Like, I think when you say
Canada,
when you say it's going to be like wacky tobacco and crazy and a big deal, like it's going to be such a big deal. Like, think about.
I mean, unless Montreal somehow pulls off a miracle, but
think about what the broadcasts of those games will be like. Like, it'll be so nuts.
They'll be testing like the emergency broadcast system every 15 minutes just to make sure society isn't on the brink of fucking collapse at all times. There'll be bus drivers jumping out of their vehicles to like look at screens, and like people just like dropping babies in hospitals and surgeons walking out of operating theaters. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be. It's going to be like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
What's going to be so weird about it is that you and I and Oilers fans are going to be so tied into the Maple Leafs zeitgeist all of a sudden, like really tied into it.
Yeah.
More than any, we're always kind of peripherally tied into it. But this time, like, we'll actually be part of it. Like, it'll be, unfolding, and we'll be like right in there. We're a huge part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll be a part of it.
It'll be like a really sweaty tango. But I mean, like the problem is, though, or what has to happen is the Oilers have to emerge from that series victorious, because we all know the Toronto fans are going to be way more willing to get on board with the Edmonton thing, and whereas the Edmonton fans are not going to be on board with the Toronto thing at all if that happens. At all. Whereas the Toronto fans are like, oh, at least we lost to like Connie and Dry. Like, I like cheering for the Oilers. They're fun too to watch. It's cool. Like Canada's team, yeah, whatever. But like in Edmonton, if Toronto goes on, we'll secede from Canada or some shit. Like we will not jump on the Toronto bandwagon. At least I won't. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what will happen there, but I do like Edmonton cannot lose that series. They cannot fucking lose that series. Or you're right. Like Edmonton would like secede from the rest of Canada. Like something.
It'll become a rump state.
It would be it would be really awful.
They'll start to refer to us in the international media as like an enclave.
Yeah.
They'll be like the beleaguered enclave, which have been suffering from supply shortages for months. First broke away when the Edmonton Oilers were defeated by the Toronto Maple Leafs in the 2021 NHL playoffs.
Well, it would just be so hard. Like, think of all. I mean, if you just think of how awful that would be if Toronto and those jackasses beat the Oilers in the playoffs.
No, that's not. But there's no point in even thinking about that unless we're in some kind of crazy series hole with them. Let's get through the first round.
I just think about
progression
that.
here.
I just think about that.
No,
stuff.
we're just starting up. It's like the playoffs.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
like we're kissing
Yeah, I
its
know.
neck and we're touching its hair. We're just kind of warming things up a little
Yeah, I
bit
know.
before we slowly move down to kind of touch the other areas and start to like light up the lights, you know. But like there's a progression there. We're not just
I
gonna go
understand.
straight into, you know, pants down,
Straight into
full on
like
second round style.
straight on like the Maple Leafs have beaten the Oilers. Like that's immediately where my mind goes. How messed
How
up
could it
is
not?
that?
How could it not after all these years of like walking through a desert where Canadian hockey teams never even fucking seem to play each other in like the regular season, let alone in the playoffs?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
No, I think we're in good shape. And I think if it comes to that, I think I can't imagine Montreal beating Toronto. And I think Edmonton
And
versus
if
Toronto
if
would
that
be
shit happened,
amazing.
Quebec would like invade Ontario and conquer it just on the fervor alone, like the bloodlust. If Montreal defeated Toronto, Toronto could fall to Montreal, like
You're
city
right.
wise. There could be like city-state warfare, Sparta versus Athens style. Because
You're
honestly,
right.
like if Les Habitants defeated the Maple Leafs, like they'd be led. Who would be the leader of the army? Probably Craig Button, I guess, would be like, or it'd be the standard bearer, very least.
No,
You probably get Jacques
like,
Martin in there. Maybe Marty Brodeur could be like finance minister.
yeah.
What would they call Canada if the Quebecois conquered the rest of English Canada? That might be an interesting thought experiment. Le meilleur Canada?
Maybe Nouveau Canada.
Nouveau Canada.
Canada deux. Canada deux.
Canada les deux. Les deuxième.
Canada.
Our French teachers would be so unhappy with this if they're listening to this podcast. Thankfully, they're not.
Mine are.
Yours are? Yeah.
I always make sure.
You
To let them know.
You send this in for extra credit?
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, bro.
No, it's okay.
What else do we got on the docket here? What else do we got in the night court?
That's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it. It's very exciting. It's a very exciting time.
Yeah, it really is. Thanks for listening, everybody. We will catch you very soon. I think we're going to try and record again, maybe one more time before the start of festivities. We'll see. And certainly we got to do a post game after game one. Like,
we'll do a post game, but I don't think we really should record again before Wednesday. Why?
Well, I want to get a little special guest action going on here. You think I'm just here for you? You think you only want to? You think I don't have any other girls in other ports here? Like, I'm sorry, but like you knew how this works when you signed up for this.
I thought we were supposed to have a special guest tonight.
Yeah, but somebody wanted to start super late because they're super cool night owl style and they don't respect other people's sleeping schedules.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's not fight about this. I don't have this same fight over again. Let's just play Fireball Island and just get over it, okay?
Okay.
It always makes us better. It always makes us feel better to play a little Fireball Island, I find.
That's true. The secret to conflict resolution. Couple rounds of Fireball Island. Take it all out on the island. Take it all out on each other on the island.
And then leave it on the island.
And then you leave it on the island.
Yeah, totally.
Slam your cards down. Just leave it on the island. Knock over the idol if you must, but it's all left there.
All right, well, in any case, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, High Priest, for joining me. Glad we could get on mic today. Thank you to the patrons. Thank you for following us on Twitter at Handkerchief DY1 and at High Priest Oil. And beyond that, just thank yourself for all the things you do for yourself. You see someone else doing all this shit? No, you're the one waking up every day and putting on those socks, brushing your teeth, and pretending to like your sister. You're the one doing all these things, okay? So thank yourself once in a while.
That's good. I like it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
See you later.